Hello friends, welcome to Vijay Gupta Physiology. In this session of Vijay Gupta Physiology videos, we are going to start with a series of lecture on hematology, which is the study of blood and the physiological aspects of hematology. In this series of sessions, we are going to deal with all the aspects of the components of the blood, functions of the blood, and various type of synthesis of the blood components and their formed elements. Let us look at what are we going to study as far as blood is concerned. This introductory video is meant for all the things which are included in blood physiology. The first, we are going to start with what are the 5 series of sessions or lectures we are going to deal with hematology or study of blood. First, we will be discussing the compositions and functions of blood. In this, we will be discussing the various composition of the blood like plasma, RBC, WBC, platelets, and the functions of blood as a whole and functions of each of these components. Next, we will be discussing the synthesis of these components of the blood's plasma, how it's composed of, what are the synthetic pathway of the plasma, RBC, WBC, and platelet, that is erythropoiesis, leukopoiesis, and megakaryopoiesis, how they are synthesized. Third, we'll be discussing blood groups as a system, blood group system we are going to discuss. Fourth, we'll be discussing clotting or hemostatic mechanisms of the blood. And the last one is going to be the immunity aspects of the blood. Let us look at each of the topics in detail in the blood physiology. First, let us try to understand what are the composition of the blood. As far as composition is concerned, blood is divided in two main parts, the plasma and the formed elements. The plasma is generally composed of 55% of the blood, whereas the other formed elements, they comprise of the 45% of the blood. So here we are going to discuss the composition as a plasma as a whole, the cells and the formed elements, which includes RBCs, which are the major components as far as cells are concerned. They are generally in millions per cubic mm of the blood. The WBCs, that is white blood cells, which play a role in defense mechanism, they are generally in thousands per cubic millimeter of the blood. And the platelets, which play a role in hemostatic mechanism, they are generally in lakhs per cubic millimeter of the blood. The functions of the blood as a whole is mentioned here, like the transport mechanism or the transport function of the blood, which includes transport of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide from lungs to tissues and tissues to lungs, transport of nutrition, albumin as one of the major source of nutrition, proteins, glucose, amino acids, and many other nutrition to the cells of the body from GI tract. It also helps in transportation of various hormones, growth hormone, thyroid hormone, and various other hormones from organs or from the glands to the target tissues of the body. It also helps in transportation of waste metabolic or the metabolic waste from tissues to the liver for its further metabolism or detoxification, or to the kidneys or to the lungs for its excretion. Apart from the blood, also helps in transportation of many other things like water as one of the major source of you can say the hydration source for the cells. The other thing with blood transport is the WBCs and immunoglobulins, which play a defense against infection. The blood also plays a very significant role in defense mechanism of the body, because it consists of immunoglobulins, antibodies, which are the major source of, you can say, defense for any foreign invasions to your body. Blood also acts as one of the storage or reservoir for the water, or you can say it acts as a reservoir for the proteins and nutrition. It also acts as a reservoir for the many hormones, because there are many hormones which are stored in the blood for their long-term effects. Apart from these, blood also has an homeostatic mechanisms, among which the most important being the clotting mechanism, which prevent the blood loss in case of certain injuries to the body or the blood vessels. The blood also plays a very vital role in temperature regulation as a homeostatic function and pH regulation. We'll be discussing all these functions in details, and we are going to discuss the function of each of the components of the blood in detail. Next, in this hematology section, we'll be discussing with the synthesis of all the formed elements of the blood, which includes the plasma protein, how plasma proteins are synthesized, where they are synthesized, what is their use, and how they play a role in the clinical settings. The plasma proteins like albumin, globulin, prothrombin, fibrinogen and many other proteins are synthesized, are present in the blood. Apart from these, we have hemopoiesis as a part of formation of the blood cells. The hemopoiesis plays a role in formation of the blood cells, in which we can study three important pathways: erythropoiesis, which is formation of RBC, leukopoiesis, formation of WBC, and megakaryopoiesis, which is formation of the platelets. The hemopoiesis part is generally consists of a stem cell, progenitor stem cells, which gives out different lineages like proerythroblast or promegaloblast and colony forming units, which finally ultimately leads to the formation of RBCs, WBCs, and platelets. The understanding of all the synthesis and their role and the place where they synthesize gives us the significant information about certain pathologies and their use. With the use of this information, we can understand the clinical importance, like the functions of plasma proteins and form components in a body. We can also will be able to understand the certain procedures like plasma apheresis, where plasma and the formed elements are separated and stored separately and according to their usage. The next we are going to study in this series of sessions is blood groups, one of the very important topics as far as concerned with all the undergraduates and graduates and postgraduates. Blood groups and blood transfusion still is one of the most crucial topic in hematology. We'll be discussing types of blood groups. The most important one are ABO, RH, and Bombay blood groups. There are a few more blood groups which we are going to study in detail. We are also going to study the cross matching regarding to the Landsteiner's law, that is the presence of antigen and antibodies, or you can say agglutinogens and agglutinins in the blood plasma on the RBCs. The use of Landsteiner's law in as a cross matching of major cross match and minor cross match. We are also going to understand the characteristics of a universal donor and a universal recipient. To give you an idea, the O negative becomes a universal donor, whereas AB positive becomes a universal acceptor. There are many other things we are also going to look into as far as blood groups and transfusion. This information is going to help us significantly in some of the situations like blood transfusion and blood donation and transfusion medicine, where the cramps, or you can say in the hospital setup when the blood donations are taken care place, how to store the blood and many other things. We are also going to understand the concept of RH incompatibility. The best example is erythroblastosis fetalis, which is the hemolytic disease of the newborn, which is seen in the condition where the pregnant woman being an RH negative and the child being an RH positive. So it leads to antigen antibody interactions, and the child may suffer serious situations called as hemolytic disease of the newborns or jaundice of the newborns. Next we'll be studying as hematology the part of clotting mechanisms. Clotting still remains one of the very difficult topic for many undergraduates and still postgraduates. There are various things which we need to understand as far as clotting is concerned, which is also called as hemostasis. Hemostasis is stoppage of flow of blood. The two important things which play a role here is platelets, which helps in bleeding, stoppage of bleeding, and the fibrinogen, which forms fibrin thread, which helps in clotting. The information of this will help us to understand the thrombocytes, their role, the blood coagulation, the intrinsic and extrinsic pathway, the factors, clotting factors as such, and what are the various tests for coagulation like prothrombin time or partial thrombin time are certain tests which are very important for understanding the clotting time of the blood. We are also going to understand some of the important features of blood storage when it comes to anticoagulants. When anticoagulants are discussed, we are going to discuss the vials, or you can say the vacutainers, which are nowadays used to store blood, the role of EDTA, the role of heparin, and many other anticoagulants which are used in clinical setup, and also the natural anticoagulants in a body. After clotting mechanisms are done or hemostasis is done, we are going to study the part of immunity functions of the blood. In immunity, we'll be discussing some of the classifications of immunity like complement system, innate immunity, and acquired immunity. In complement system, we are going to again discuss about classical pathway of complement system, alternative pathway of the complement system, biological effects of the complement system, and we are also going to discuss the innate immunity, which is the immunity we are born with, and the acquired immunity, which is also called as when you get example, for example, vaccination is one of the type of acquired immunity. So these are all what we're going to discuss in all the series of hematology as a session. So I request you all to subscribe my channel Vijay Gupta Physiology on YouTube, and to get the maximum benefit of learning complete hematology in the simplest and you can say easiest possible manner.